moving one hand at a time. If you do it real fast, nobody knows that that's your trick. But you're just moving it one hand at a time. Now remember, it's something that you can, if you keep your eye on it, using that space and being able to work within that space, that's how you create the box. Now, stay tuned because we're going to have the illusion of the weights coming right up in our next segment.
How to get out of the base of the prism, which is just a prison of the mind of your own thinking. Hi, I'm Shesha, your mystery school guide to life on the planet Earth. I am here to help you deconstruct the illusions of this planet, to help you get rid of the roadblocks called the traveling man, and get you through your ascension called Narnia, called Agartha, called the heavens, by learning and mastering this schoolhouse called Earth. Stay tuned. Let's start out easy. So right here you see Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Have you ever taken a health course or seen this in your textbook? This triangle is components of you. It starts out psychological, safety, love and belonging, esteem, self-actualization. But you must start out at the root, the physiological needs that every human being needs. Breathing, food, water, sex, sleep, homeostasis, excretion. Now, I want you to take a look at the color red. What is the first thing that comes to mind when you see this color? I'll tell you what I see. Hell. That's what I see. Stay with me. We're going to be moving fast. Now we're in the chakras, the 7 chakras, the 7 wheels of light. When you have chakras, at the base of the chakras is again that red color here. So let's do a reading, okay? What is the positive qualities of this first chakra, the root chakra? You have stability, you have vitality, loyalty, prosperity, you have tenacity, you have career success, okay? But what happens when it malfunctions, okay? It is the bowel, blood, bone disorders, obesity, you have anorexia, anxiety, spaciness, financial problems, chronic fear, and materialism, instability. And I'll add on to that as well. You have grief, you have sadness. You are not right when that first chakra is not spinning right. Okay? So when a person makes an agreement, a contract to come to this planet Earth, we all must fall to the earth. In the earth, you must live at the base, the third dimensional realm. You start at the root. You deal with the root of the problem. Then you ascend back to where you come from. So this is the better picture here. The root is often what I call the ass, the spine, okay? We need to figure out how we got here and how we can go back by dealing with Earth's schoolhouse. Let's go even further. When you look at this image, you see man and woman at the very base of the prism. At the bottom of the structure, in the Rosicrucian and alchemical tradition, this represents the descent of consciousness into the material world. Man has descended from higher spiritual realms into the physical realm, and at the very bottom, he becomes connected to the earth. But the image shows that man is not meant to remain at the bottom. The prism represents the different levels of existence and consciousness. At the base, we are closest to the physical world, to the body, survival, fear, instinct, sex, material needs, and the limitation of the physical existence. You have the crow, swan, cock, pelican, and phoenix representing different planetary alchemical forces. You also have the lion above representing the higher spiritual realms. At the center is the double-bodied lion, representing the union of opposites, light and darkness, masculine and feminine, the divided parts coming back into one. And at the bottom, man and woman are connected to the higher world by a golden chain, representing the divine and human principles within creation. As you move upward, the symbolism becomes less dense and more spiritual, representing the higher levels of consciousness and being. So when we talk about man being chained to earth, it doesn't simply mean that earth is evil or that the physical body is something we have to escape. The earth is a part of us. Manly P. Hall often discussed man as a microcosm of the universe, the greater universe reflected within the individual. Another image that helps explain the ascent is the key to Dante's Divine Comedy. In this image, Dante's journey represents the soul's movement through different levels of consciousness. He begins in the darkness and descends into the lower aspects of existence, but then begins ascending the mountain of purgatory. The 7 levels represent the purification of the lower nature: pride, envy, wrath, sloth, avarice, gluttony, and lust. In the esoteric interpretation, these are not simply punishments. They are forces that keep consciousness attached to its lower material realm. As the soul ascends, it becomes free from these attachments. After the 7 levels, the ascent continues through planetary spheres, eventually reaching the 8th sphere, the sphere of the fixed stars, where the soul receives higher spiritual understanding. Have you ever done tarot? The tarot is another map of the soul's journey. A traditional tarot deck contains 78 cards, 22 major arcana, 56 minor arcana. The major arcana represents greater journey of consciousness, while the minor arcana represents the everyday experiences we encounter along the way. The Fool begins at 0, representing the soul entering the world and beginning its journey through experience. Along the way, the Fool encounters every aspect of existence. At the death card, the old self must die. The figure passes between 2 pillars toward the light, symbolizing a passage from one state of consciousness into another. The sun represents illumination. Judgment represents awakening and resurrection. The world represents completion. The Fool has traveled through the entire cycle and became whole. The Fool is us. We all descend into physical world, experiencing its density, transform through life and death, and ultimately make our way back toward the light. Any mathematical geniuses out there? Pythagoras taught the numbers were the principles behind the universe. 1 is unity, the source. 2 is duality, the division into opposites. 3 is reconciliation of opposites. 4 is manifestation, the 4 elements in the material world. 5 is the union of opposites. 6 is harmony. 7 is the sacred number of spiritual completion. 8 is regeneration and balance. 9 is the completion of the cycle. But let me leave you with one question. What is the sum of the numbers 1 through 9? What do you think the number represents? Here's your hint. It is the number associated with completion, a full cycle, and a return to source. I know when you see this picture, you may feel afraid, but there's nothing to fear. You are not powerless in this game. You are here to become a creator and master the game of life by going through the journey. This is Jacob's ladder, the stairway to the stars. At the bottom is the earth, the material world where the game begins. The chess piece represents the individual moving through great game of life, making choices and learning through experience. The ladder represents the ascent of consciousness. It is the journey upward through the spine, from the base body toward the crown, ascending through the level of consciousness until you reach the stars. This is also symbolized by Solomon's temple. The temple is the human being, and the ascent through the temple represents the rebuilding and perfecting of yourself. And at the top, you see heaven, not as somewhere you simply wait to go after death, but as a state of consciousness you ascend through the journey. So the message of the image is simple. You are not trapped at the base. You are the one moving up the ladder. You are the chess piece, but you are also the player. And as you master yourself, you begin to master the game. So when you play this game of life, understand that you made a contract to come down here. You made a contract to come find your soul one day by living in the root and ascending one day. And the one day that you make your heart as light as a feather, the universe will send you a great gift and give you the Philosopher's Stone, the doorway to your soul where you ascend and become the God that you truly are. Get my book.